So we've got Ben and Frank here from Man of Many. Going to talk all things Rolex at Watches and Wonders 2025. We've got some people on the ground too, so head over to our social channels and check out what Rob and John are up to in Geneva. But for now, we're going to break it down, all these Rolex releases. A lot to unpack here. Honestly, when I got the email at midnight, when the clock strikes midnight, it didn't look like there was a whole bunch to unpack, and I got kind of excited because I wouldn't have to sit there for like 2 hours writing thousands of words about it. But then all of a sudden, you sort of research these things, and it just becomes so nuanced. But I want to make it as simple to understand as possible for the listeners out there. But we're going to start with the big release, which was teased by Roger Federer like 16 hours before it came out. It's the Land-Dweller. It's the elephant in the room, but we sort of knew this watch was coming because they'd filed patents in the US for the name Land-Dweller and Coast Dweller. So I think some insiders sort of knew it was coming, but they never tell us anything, no matter what we ask. So it got announced, Land-Dweller. So it's heading inland, basically. It's available in 6 different references, and I'm going to get your reactions for the prices because they are quite up there. Actually, more than 6 references. It's available in 10 references, but I put a few of my favorite numbers down here. I'm going to focus on the 40mm variants. You can get it 2 variants, 36 and 40, all in the same spec. So I've got 5 of the 40mm references to quote here for price. Starts at 24,200 Australian dollars. Sounds not too bad, to be honest, for something that's quite technical. More on that in a second. You can also get it in, so that's in white roller saw, which is a combination of sort of white gold and metal, steel. So 24,200 for that. You can step up from there. It gets expensive. So you can have it Everose Gold, 74,900. Everose Gold Gem Set, 167,500. I actually love that they publish these prices though. And then you can just strip it back to just being platinum. Just platinum's 101,300. That comes with a special sort of icy blue dial. And then you can do my favorite, the one that I would buy, is the 40mm 950 platinum gem set, $186,500, which is up there. I think you got to be some type of serious baller. I guess there's so many people out there that would do it, though. I can imagine all the rappers and athletes out there just to walk into the Rolex dealer and say, give me the most expensive version of the new watch you've got with factory set diamonds. So give me your reaction. What do you reckon? Let's just talk Land-Dweller and to that price as well.
Well, yeah, I think this is probably the most talked about release of this year's Watches and Wonders. The Rolex Land-Dweller is the most talked about.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting in terms of the pricing. Yeah, it's up there, but it's quite an interesting release because when you look at it visually, there's a lot of things going on. It's very Rolex, but at the same time, you can draw a lot of similarities with some other watches.
Yeah.
If you want to talk, let's talk about the design and the look and feel of it. So yeah, something about it, the integrated bracelet. This is the first integrated bracelet that Rolex has done in quite a while.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably one of the key things about it that has people talking because, you know, the GOAT of integrated bracelets is the Royal Oak, the AP Royal Oak.
Yeah.
So anytime any brand creates a watch with an integrated bracelet, you either got to design something that's so different from the Royal Oak that it just kind of stands alone, or design something that has some similarities of the Royal Oak and know that your watch is forever going to be compared to the Royal Oak. And I think Rolex is this new watch is something that a lot of people are looking at and saying it's like a Royal Oak. It's a Rolex version of a Royal Oak.
I've also seen a lot of people comparing it to a PRX, a Tissot, and I have to say to them, I've got an early look at the Land-Dweller here on my wrist. It looks a lot like a PRX, but I do like this. Okay, I did the article. I want to break it down into its parts. So, flat Jubilee bracelet, all new. It's just for this. I'm a big fan of it. I think it's so cool to call on the heritage of the Jubilee bracelet, but recreated in a flat sort of layout. Fluted bezel tells you it's a Rolex sort of straight away when you look at it. When we saw it on Federer's wrist, I think everyone instantly knew what it was. Honeycomb dial, I think, is a little bit of a controversial choice. I think some people have gone, what is that doing there?
Yeah, it's a bit Lamborghini.
Oh, it is a lot Lamborghini now you say that. Wow, like a little hexagonal. Interesting. I think it's a lot Lamborghini actually. It's like sitting inside of Urus. I like the icy blue choice on the 950 Platinum, and the white on the stainless one's obviously clean too. Hands, indices, everything like that. I'm a big fan of. Strangely, and you can't unsee this. It only has a 9 and a 6. There's no other numbers on the dial, which is interesting to me, and it's kind of like you can't unsee it when you see it. But and they've put a nice large Rolex crown at the 12 o'clock. So I don't mind. I think it's balanced. I think I can't unsee the fact that it only has a 9 and a 6, but also like what else are they going to do? I think it has the day window and the massive crown at the top. So like I think I'd rather just have those two things there. No crown guard. It's clean. I'm a big fan of it. I think it looks very cool. I think the honeycomb is controversial choice, but as if you were going to imagine Rolex making an integrated bracelet watch, I think you'd probably land on something like this. Sort of just a classic oyster quartz case, integrated flat jubilee bracelet, fluted bezel, honeycomb dial's questionable, but apart from that, I think they've pretty much nailed this. And technically speaking, it's very impressive too.
Well, just on that as well, I think something about this that is quite striking are the highlights. And what I mean by that is on a bracelet, especially more the higher end you go in watches, what you'll notice is that certain surfaces are polished and certain surfaces are brushed, and the attention to detail that they put into that is what makes it really sparkle. So when you look at this watch, you'll see it pick up the light really well and kind of sparkles, and it's interesting, and it looks like there's a lot of shine, a lot of highlights going on. And that's because if you look at the bracelet, they've got the links in the center, which have a high mirror polish. And then also kind of on the edges of those links, they're chamfered, so they cut like 45 degrees, and some of those surfaces are polished, which picks up the light really well. On top of having that trademark fluted bezel as well with that high polish and that shape, it really picks up the light. So when you wear it, it's like a piece of jewelry more so than like a tool watch kind of thing with all those kind of elements that pick up the light. So that's something about it that really gives it its brilliance.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this watch. 20% thinner than a Datejust as well is what I've heard. So like quite a nice thing that will slip under the shirt quite well. 36 and 40 millimeter. I think 40 millimeter is a good size. They could have maybe gone smaller, but I think 40 millimeter is pretty much perfect. That's also PRX sizing, so I think PRX is a good size. So I'm happy with the 40. Let's get into the caliber. So it's sort of a spin-off of the 7140, which we've seen in the 1908, and we'll talk a bit about that in a second. It's extremely impressive, insanely accurate, measures time to a tenth of a second, which is wild. 5 hertz frequency. It's the first time they've ever done a 5 hertz frequency movement. 66 hours power reserve is so impressive, even like more impressive because of how fast the watch beats. Dynapulse escapement, which is a Rolex term they've sort of taken, just more efficient. But it's also fragile, and they've addressed that with a bunch of nice little suspension thingies inside the watch and everything like that. But I don't want to get too into it because it can get boring very quickly. But it's just exciting. I think they've created like a new movement that is technically just a showcase of what they're capable of in-house.
I think we can touch on that high beat movement and why that is important, why that's something that why it is an important feature is that a high beat movement, what that means is that essentially the watch ticks faster. So it's every part and every piece in that watch is moving faster and faster than in something that has a lower beat, which means that all the parts are wearing and aging more quickly than another watch. So high beat movements, way back in the day, those watches, they'd be destroyed quickly. They made them, but then they wouldn't last as long because all the parts were working and wearing and aging a lot quicker. But over time, advancements in technology, advancements in materials and manufacturing process have allowed manufacturers to create these high beat watches and be able to withstand the test of time and last a lot longer.
So now's probably the best time for it because, like I say, technology is right at the forefront. I kind of, being a car guy, I reckon it's kind of like having a race engine in your watch, except you don't have to rebuild it after every race. It's like a drag engine in your watch, which is pretty cool. It's cool to have. It's kind of like, I guess you could just call this sort of like the Porsche GT3 of watches, where it has a race engine in a pretty nice looking case. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Are they too late to the integrated bracelet?
I don't think it's ever too late. I think, they're smart. They know what they're doing. Obviously, they've seen a demand for it, and I think it's just for them, it's more of a design. It gives them an extra pillar. You know, they've got this watch, and we'll see multiple variations of this watch over the coming years. Yeah,
I think for sure. Obviously, there's ever rose gold now, but next year they'll probably just get to release a yellow gold version as well. Why wouldn't they? And there'll be different dial colors, and maybe they'll even change the pattern on the dial. That honeycomb is growing on me, though, the more I look at it. Who's this watch for? Is it enthusiast?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I think it's one that we'll find out soon. I think it's always, Rolex has always had a broad appeal with like the Submariner, the Day. The appeal's always been broad with Rolex. So I think this again will be quite broad. I don't think it'll specifically be just for the collectors. But you know, time will tell.
Yeah, I think so. I think I don't know this for a fact, but I wouldn't be surprised if sort of like the early buyers, the people who get excited about it, but then also people that have always wanted a automatic Oyster quartz. Sort of the enthusiasts out there. I've already seen a lot of them online getting pretty excited about just having an integrated bracelet at this price point. It's pretty appealing. I think that's pretty much it for the old Land-Dweller. If you want to see a full breakdown of that movement, I've done it in the article over at manofmany.com. You can come check out my article. And I break it down and explain why all these things are so exciting. But it is a very, very cool watch, and I would love to have a race engine in my watch, though. It kind of slows down a little bit from there. We've got GMT-Master II, ceramic dial, green ceramic. And it's lefty. So it's lefty again. So we saw the lefty in 2022. And they're basically taking that exact same watch. Everyone's calling it the Sprite or the Starbucks. And then flipped it with a green ceramic dial. So it's fairly simple. What are your thoughts on it? Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah,
is it too basic? It's just a bit of a
it's a great watch. Yeah, but there's nothing that it's nothing too new. It's just a nice addition, something different. Yeah. But that's about it. Obviously, it's quality. It's Rolex, but
I think if you were going to pull something out of it, I just love the look of ceramic as a material on a watch. I think having a ceramic dial on a watch, especially something that's pretty unique like this, I just think it looks great. The way it's hard to explain, but until you see a watch, this watch is 75,000, nearly 76,000 Australian dollars. So when you see a watch that's this high caliber, it's white gold in the flesh with a ceramic dial, it just looks super duper expensive. So I think you can write it off as a bit of a nothing release, but I don't think that's necessarily justified just because it'll look so dumb expensive in person, and people are going to line up around the block to get them. So this watch, I would not be surprised to see this watch going for like nearly $100,000 on the secondary market. So I do get excited a little bit, but they could have, in some ways is a bit of a tease because they could have gone so many different directions with this, but they've just basically chosen to update something they released a few years ago with ceramic. But I'd love to see them just keep it going. Like, why not make a different colours? Like, why go green? I don't know, but it does match the sort of bezel insert perfectly. So then it's a nice green. It's a nice sort of Starbucksy green, which I like. All right, I have a lot to say about these Oyster Perpetuals. They are literally just the same Oyster Perpetuals that we've seen, except we've got 41, 28, 36 OPs with 3 new dial colours. They like hiding a lot of these things in the configurator, and it can be a little bit confusing to figure out what is what. But I'm looking at a 41mm Pistachio dial right now, and it is just speaking to me. I don't know why. The pastels are just so hot. I think a watch that, it's smooth as well. A watch that looks like this is just my type of thing. It's so my vibe. I think the lavender's really cool at 28mm. The beige on the 36mm, I think, is just a nice subtle one for people that have too many watches. They just go, I'll just get one of those. I think the Pistachio 41, it has a redesign. Like the cases, everything's been trimmed a little bit more on the 41. It's a little bit jittery, to be honest, but I'm a big fan of that watch. What do you reckon?
Yeah, some slight refinements is good.
Yeah.
I think the colors, the pastels,
Yeah.
you know, they're nice. It's nice to have like a little pop of color,
Yeah.
but nothing that's too overpowering. It makes it quite versatile. So yeah, I think it's an okay release.
I think,
like again, just small refinements, new color.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Pretty. I mean, keeping it simple sometimes is the best thing. I think in the past we've seen. What do we see? We saw a nice sort of pink. We saw the Tifanny Turquoise, which is still available, I believe, from what I've seen in the configurator. Maybe they'll get rid of it. But quick note on the pricing. So 41 mil Pistachio Oyster Steel, 10,550. 36 Oyster Steel with the beige, $10,050 Australian. And then the 28, I think it lands around the $9,000 mark. So sort of some of the more accessible ones. I wouldn't be surprised if you can kind of pick these up pretty simply at your local boutique. I know a few people that have got OP41s. They don't go for crazy money on the secondary market, so they should be fairly accessible. But yeah, so the 28 mil does have a different movement as a 22-32 caliber, while the bigger 36 and 41 have 32-30 caliber, 70 ounce power reserve. So it's also like quite technically impressive watch. And I think there are a lot of watches you can buy around that $10,000 price tag, but it does come in at sort of under 14 by quite a bit. So for 70 ounce power reserve, nice pastel dial, I think it's a pretty sort of cool release. Flies under the radar a bit. And also it's like from now on, the OP41 2025 release being a slightly different case will also make it slightly more collectible moving forward. So they've improved it. All right, let's do kind of another one that's just a little quickie is the Perpetual 1908. So this watch originally released in 2023 to replace the Cellini, named after the year Rolex was trademarked, and this year it's coming in yellow gold with a new bracelet. It is a stunning bracelet and 7 bands or 7 rings in the bracelet. I'm big fan of it. What's your take?
Yeah, I love it. Love the bracelet. Love the design in yellow gold. I think it's lovely.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, I think don't really need to say much more than that, to be honest. Yeah, yellow gold wide dial, 66 hours power reserve. 7140 caliber movement. I don't know. I guess the only argument for this watch is like, are they going to sort of add those? Are they going to make it high beat? I guess because there's the 7135 in the new Land-Dweller is like a sort of different version of this 7140. I guess an improved version of it. So I wonder if eventually this cops the 7135 too. But
and what's this one retailing for?
That is a very good question. Hopefully I wrote it down. Probably a lot of money. Thanks for the setup. $56,700. That's a lot of watch for the money, I have to say, to be honest. I think the standard one's around the $42,000 mark. So yeah, you can typically tack on about 15 and 20 for yellow gold at a Rolex dealer. And yeah, I think it looks cool. New bracelets is a big upgrade. It's a brand new bracelet too. So kind of it's very vintage in design. I think it leans even more into the sort of vintage aesthetic of the 1908 than the previous release. So big fan of that. Another one we can probably breeze over, to be honest, is the Datejust 31. Just a beautiful women's watch, $78,800, gem set, sort of smaller in size, but still, I think they've packed all the premium, those expensive materials. There's a new ombre dial. Yeah, big fan of this one. I think it's just for the ballers out there, pretty much, on a President bracelet. It's baller as it gets. President bracelet, gem set, ombre dial, gold. Like, you name it, it's got it. Pretty much. Any thoughts on that one? Anything to nitpick in there, or just a nice release?
Yeah, it's just a nice release. That sunburst dial is beautiful. That red ombre. I think that's just such a beautiful color, especially with that sunburst pattern. Yeah. And then the diamond, the contrasting pop of, sparkle. Yeah,
I think it's cool. I think maybe you could critique Rolex in the past for sort of not giving the women the bolder sort of designs, but I think the fact this pretty much has everything is just a nice little thing to have. I think if you got $78,800 lying around, then it's an absolute cop. All right, now the exciting part, and this is the thing that like the Rolex forums get excited about, is when they bring out these. It's so funny when you get the press release. They always just say new dials for Daytona Skydweller and GMT-Master II. And then you look at it and you're like, whoa, there's a lot happening here. There's way more happening here than they might say, or like state in the press release. But let's get into it. So we've got a sort of Tifanny Cosmograph Daytona. We've got a Australia edition green and gold Skydweller and a crazy Tiger iron dial on the GMT-Master II. Retail on the Daytona, 59,000. Retail on the Skydweller, 88,800. Nice lucky number there. GMT-Master II, 80,300. So some nice high price points. That Daytona is going to absolutely crank. If you can get that, good luck to you. But let's break it down. Let's start with the Daytona turquoise dial. Don't call it a Tifanny. Just a beautiful watch, I think. I love the contrast of the gold with the black rubber strap. You name it. It's got it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, that dial is just such a pop of color, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's nice.
I love when they do this every year with the Daytona. It's just like, okay, everyone wants a stainless steel Daytona, and then they're like, no, you can't have that. So we'll give you this crazy yellow gold, or even what did they bring out? They had the moon, meteorite. I just love what they do with the Daytona every year. They're like, you can't have a stainless. Well, good luck if you can get a stainless, but you can have this crazy, or maybe you can have this crazy like proper F off Daytona. Like, I love the burgundy platinum one. I love the meteorite dial, and this is just like, okay, we're gonna be 16 months late to the Tifanny game, but we're just gonna put black and yellow gold on it, and I think it's just so baller. I'm a massive fan of it.
Yeah,
I think contrasting sub dials, like, it's just so hot, and I think until you see one of these things in person, I don't know if people out there have had a chance to see a Daytona, like a special novelty Daytona in person, but they look so expensive. They're proper baller watches, even though the price tag is like somewhat reasonable. It's not $100,000+ watch at retail price, at least. Skydweller is just a beautiful, I mean, people call this the Australia spec, I guess, because it's green and gold, classic Aussie watch nerd thing. But who doesn't love a green dial? And especially when you put a Skydweller on a nice yellow gold case, it's just so hot to me.
Yeah, it's good to see those Aussie colours shining through.
Yeah, I just love Skydweller. And then GMT-Master II on the iron, it has a Tiger iron dial, and I'm not going to lie to you, I had no idea what this was, but apparently it's a combination of a bunch of rare stones. It's Everose, it's sort of root beery on the bezel. It's just a crazy thing, and I guess it's just another novelty from Rolex in 2025 that is going to sell out. It probably already has sold out, at least for the next 12 months, and go for a lot of money. But I mean, I like it. I think it's really cool. I think people, when this watch got leaked, I just remember everyone. I didn't get leaked, I guess, but people sort of knew it might be coming. And from a distance, it looks kind of like one of those, like a bus seat. I don't know. From
like
a distance, kind of
the pattern that you see on the public transport.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at it from here. We've got it on the screen over here, and it's just like, what is that? It looks kind of like a bus seat, but I guess it's it's a iron tiger iron.
I always wonder like how they choose that. It's such a how they choose that rare stone. Like, out of all the stones you could choose, you chose tiger iron.
Yeah, like,
why?
Yeah, I do wonder that.
No, that's not a bad thing.
No,
but I just wonder what the process was to coming to the conclusion that this is what we're gonna release.
Yeah, because it's not like year of the tiger or anything random like that. I think it's just, they must just have this stuff planned out maybe years ahead. So maybe the guys on the ground can let us know if they get to the bottom of that one. But yeah, I'd love to know. I think it looks cool. I think when you get a GMT-Master II and you make it crazy, I think you're taking a tool watch and you're making it, I mean, it's just another F-off watch where it's just Everose gold with a tiger eye. I mean, it's the watch nerd's watch. It's like when you're at Watches and Wonders and you don't know what to wear, like, it's just a go-to. It's like, it'd be so obvious. You'd be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna whip out the tiger iron. But again, like, these things, they're fun. They're fun watches to look at, and they're highly collectible. But they're also just technically like such amazing watches made to such a high standard. All the materials are always, the highest of quality. And technically they're great watches too. So, like, I mean, 70 hours power reserve, it's a GMT-Master II. So, yeah, not much else to say about that one. But I think those three releases at the end together are just fun and exciting to me. I think if I had to choose one, I'm going probably Tifanny Daytona. What about you?
I'm going Tiger Iron.
Yeah,
Tiger
all
Iron
out,
for sure.
all
Yeah.
out. Yeah, I think it's cool. Are you a rose? Do you like the ever rose gold stuff?
I'm not really that into ever rose gold in
Yeah.
general. Usually,
Yeah.
there are some. Every different brand has their slightly different rose gold formula in the color. I usually would prefer yellow gold over rose gold. I say that as if I have all these like gold watches
It's
at
nice
home.
to dream.
But
That's like 95% of watches is just dreaming. So, yeah, I think I do like Rolex. It's quite pink. I quite like the Everose because it just leans a little bit more pink. But especially on like these watches are so serious. When you make them a little bit more fun, I think it just makes it interesting to me. All right, let's get to the recap. All right, let's wrap up Rolex. I think we just did like half an hour Rolex. I planned to do 20 minutes, so here we are. I want to ask you your favorite model first from the release.
I have to say the Land-Dweller. Land-Dweller, just because it's different, it's unique. Even though I'm not 100% sold on it, but I'm not 100% sold on it. But I just think it's interesting, and I think it's different, and I like that. I think that there's a lot of quirky things about it that I really appreciate.
Yeah, are you going platinum or
platinum?
Yeah, I think platinum is probably the move. I like that ice blue. I think there'll be quite a few of the roller saw ones out there, and I think if you go platinum, or if you had the chance to go platinum for $100,000, it's a cool one. I think it's a cool enthusiast choice. Even just the watch in general is an enthusiast choice. Not sold personally on the honeycomb, but now you've told me it looks like a Lamborghini. I'm probably even sold. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't even think it would look better with if it was just a normal, like even a ombre dial, ceramic dial. I don't think it would necessarily look better. So I think honeycomb's a cool move. For me, I'm going to try not to just say Tifanny Daytona because it's pretty cliche, and that's typical of me. But I think I'm going Pistachio OP41. It's just a hot watch. I think it's just so. I mean, that would just go with anything. You could wear that with a suit, black suit. It would look so good with. But even just on the daily, it's just understated, smooth bezel, redesigned case. Yeah, good 70-hour power reserve. I mean, I can't complain about that watch. I love it, and $10,000 is a fair price to pay for a Rolex in 2025, I reckon. All right. Most surprising watch released from Rolex?
GMT with Tiger Iron. Like out of anything that you can make.
Why?
It looks cool. Yeah, it looks good.
I think I like the look of it.
It's just like, oh, really?
Yeah, Tiger Iron. I thought, and I said it. It kind of looks like a bus seat, but I mean, I'm kind of into it.
It works.
Yeah, it works. I think when you see next to someone with it in Everose too, like I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm into it. I think I'm kind of alongside you there. But if I had to say most surprising, I think it's even the fact they've made the Land-Dweller 36 mil. I think it's interesting. Like they don't when Rolex typically puts out a release, they don't necessarily cater to everyone, but they've catered to everyone here, which is cool. You can have a gem set, you can have it Everose, you can have it platinum, you can have it roller saw, you can have it in so many different ways. And then they've gone, okay, we're going to do that, but we'll also make it 36 mil. So I think they're trying to go for like a decent amount of volume with this release, and I think it appeals to everyone out there, men, women. And I think it's cool they've done that. I didn't expect them to do that. I thought they might just bring out one. Like when they had the 1908, they pretty much just released like a new model. We're just going to give you, a couple versions of it, but they got 10 different references for the Land-Dweller. So that was cool. The watch itself, I mean, that's got to be one of the most leaked watch in the world. In Rolex for the last couple of years. So I just want to know what that Coast Dweller looks like whenever that comes out. So I'm getting excited.
Yeah, I wonder whether next year we're going to see more leaks from some celebrities, some celebrity sightings of some new product. I think now that Rolex has done it, we'll see it from other brands as well.
Yeah, I think it'll be a trend moving forward for sure. If you had to pick one to wear, what are you going?
As a daily driver, probably just the Oyster Perpetual in beige. It's just understated, clean, knock it around, no fuss kind of thing, and it's good. It's a beautiful watch.
I think they wear quite well too. I mean, like literally, and over time, I think little nicks and scratches on a Oyster Perpetual kind of adds a bit of character to it. Beige? You going beige?
Yeah, I'm going beige. I think the beige as well. It looks a bit vintage, like it has a vintage feel to it. So I like that about it.
I think the thing about the beige for me, which personally ruined it a little bit, is I'm not a Linen Dial fan. Like I know people, there's a lot of Linen Dial Rolex fans out there, but I'm not one of them. I think this is, it's a similar vein to me, and I think when I look at it, I go, it's not really for me. But I think it's a classy choice. I think Pistachio for me, I would even go lavender on a 36. I think that could look kind of cool, but I'm a 41 guy. I think 36 sizings, it's a good size. Like you can definitely wear it. But I think I'm a 41 guy. I like your choice. I think Oyster Perpetual as a daily driver is just such a good choice.
Yeah, and I think too in the beige as well, it's a bit more of a, if you know, you know. It's not drawing attention. You just kind of
that's
just
so
wear.
true,
It's a bit more discreet.
Yeah, I think I like that discreet nature to it. What am I wearing every day? I think I'm gonna go platinum Land-Dweller gem set. $180,000. No, I reckon. Oh, it's a tough one. Man, what am I gonna do? I'm like randomly on the gold watch thing right now. I don't know why. I really don't think I can wear a gold watch, but the Aussie Skydweller.
Yeah.
Why not? Like green dial, I think it was the thing to have. I think it was 3 years ago, 4 years ago, maybe even less, 2 years ago. But that green and gold, baby. Rev the Aussies. Rev the Aussies.
What about this? Well, I got one for you.
Yeah.
I think this is right up your alley. So I think 2026 they might come out with the Land-Dweller yellow gold with their rainbow gem set.
That's so amazing. Why not? Like, that's like the Land-Dweller even more ostentatious. Yeah, I think that'd be crazy. But I'm going Skydweller. I think that's the move for me. I just love that watch in general. Even like white gold. I think it's an underrated watch. Like whenever you see, I think you go to things like, I remember at F1. So the funny thing about F1 this year is that obviously it's LVMH, so everything's tag, and I'm a massive tag guy, but everyone still is wearing their Rolexes. And you were not a cool person if you're wearing a Submariner or a GMT-Master II. I mean, you're a bit cooler, or a Datejust, but you were a pretty cool person if you have a Skydweller. Or I mean, even a Daytona, man. I think I saw a million Daytonas. So I think I'm of that crowd. I'm going Skydweller, and I think the Aussie edition Skydweller. So, yeah, that's me. So that's it for the 2025 Rolex releases. If you want to get into the weeds a little bit and nerd out, head over to manofmany.com. Check out my article where I've included every price and every reference and every movement, every power reserve, every detail you could possibly want about these releases, and all the photos from the press release. The article's up on the website right now. Check out our other Watches and Wonders content. We're going to do a daily wrap pretty much of our favorite watches. Part 1 is out now. Part 2 is probably out now by the time you hear this podcast, but check all that out. Also head over to our social media channels, Man of Many, and our YouTube to check out what Rob and John are getting up to on the ground at Watches and Wonders in Geneva. I'm very jealous that I'm not there, but I know they're jet lagged, sleep deprived, and living on espresso. So I'm also happy to be here. Thank you to Frank for hanging out and giving us your expertise. Thank you. And that's pretty much been it. So make sure if you like this episode, also check out our Spotify podcast channel for all of the other Watches and Wonders wrap ups we're doing. It's been Rolex. Thank you for listening.